Lord.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, do you want me seriously to get on my knees?
You don't have to. Just however you feel comfortable.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Hey guys, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So this is my foster mom, Jeanie, and we're gonna talk with her today. We're gonna make 2 different videos. So we're gonna talk about what it was like to get me, and then we're gonna talk just kind of in general about her journey as a foster parent, because you did it for how many years?
15 years.
15. Okay.
Yeah, my husband and I together.
And you guys had how many foster kids?
36.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. So this woman knows a lot about foster care, so I thought it would be really cool to get some of her insight. And yeah, maybe you guys will learn a bit about me as well. So
Okay, when you came, it was late at night, and we received the call, and you came in crying. Stephanie was about 11 years old, and night is very difficult for foster children because they can't adjust. They cannot go to sleep. So I planned on being awake, of course, all night. This is something we do with all foster children, all placements. And I figured she's 11 years old, she's a girl, she probably likes to shop. Well, we couldn't go shopping at a store for clothing or anything, so I asked her if she wanted to go to the grocery store, the all night open.
How did you think of that?
Just because I thought, what would I want? I would want to do something that would help distract me from being placed in a completely strange world.
So like, what did you do? Because you usually took in like younger foster kids. So,
I usually did. I had about 3 that were older like you. Okay, most of the time when we got a placement at night, they were little, and you could comfort them by rocking them, falling asleep with them in the rocker or next to them in a bed. But they would not want to be isolated and placed in a bed by themselves.
So would you like hold them and like
hold a blanket with a blanket?
Were they like really, really upset when they would arrive at your house usually?
Some, the older ones all were.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
The 3 older ones, like around 10, 11. Then also we had some that were, around 4 to 7 years of age, and sometimes they came in pairs, so they helped to comfort one another.
Okay, so basically when it came time for them to start talking about like adopting me and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like, what do you think about that whole process, like adopting a teenager and stuff like that? Because that's what I had a really hard time with. You already know. Like.
Yes, yes. Well, you like to stay a lot of the time by yourself.
Yes, yes.
In your room.
Yeah.
And Stephanie had her own room. I do want to say that.
It was a really cute room.
Yes.
You decorated it yourself.
Right. We always wanted to welcome kids in with, a very pleasant room. Something I would want to live in.
Well, me and Faith share a room.
For a while.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the rooms were always kind of getting rearranged and stuff. And like,
Always.
you were always very easygoing about us, like, switching rooms, changing furniture, like,
Always.
rearranging things. Like, you've always been really cool about that.
Right.
So, I mean, you're definitely flexible. I think that's important to have, like, that.
Being flexible and just roll with the changes. You have to do that because you never know. Every day starts out differently, and every day has its own challenges and own rewards.
The whole, like, me getting adopted in Canada and stuff, like, that really made you mad because that process was not handled in the best way, in your opinion.
Okay, well, Stephanie had come to us at 11, and we were just emergency foster parents at that time, so she did leave, and she came back. Okay, well, around the age of 16 and a half, her age, the agency started asking us, do you want to adopt her? And we said, well, we would like to adopt her. So when we spoke to Stephanie, her suggestion was, I really want to keep my own name, and I really don't want to be adopted, but I want to stay here. That was fine with my husband and me. We thought that was fine. She got along with all of our children. So we thought, okay, we want to do what she wants to do, and we're fine with the status quo. But the Children's Services kept pushing us to adopt her. They said, Mrs. White, we need you and your husband to go through with adoption.
They were very, very pushy about adoption. And it was weird to me because I was like, I am going to be 18 soon. Like, I mean, adoption I feel like is for kids and stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like after 16, I mean, yeah, I understand why some people want to do it. They want to have a home and have a family. But I didn't feel like just because I wasn't adopted that I didn't have that with you guys. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like adoption was the answer. And I felt like Children's Services constantly was pushing for that. And I felt like I was, every time they came over, I told them that I didn't want to be adopted. It didn't make sense to me because I'm not a child. Like, you know, I just didn't see why that was necessary.
Yes, and we felt the same. If a teen does not want to be adopted, why can't they move on and go to one who does? There are plenty of teens who want a forever home.
Yeah.
We did not like the process. The process was to place each of the children online with, you know, just 2 or 3 lines about each child, their picture, and then anyone who's interested in adoption would go ahead and call their current agency and say, I'm interested in this child. Well, obviously Stephanie is very pretty. And I thought I did not feel comfortable with some of the people that the agency presented to us. And I said, no, she's not going to Idaho. I'm sorry. You know, she is not going into the country area of Idaho. We want to know the people where she's going. We want to keep in touch. And so the people that eventually chose her and wanted her, this all came through at around 17 and a half. We found it very upsetting that they would push for adoption at this age, since at 18 she could be on her own and she could stay at our house anyway. They had a lot to offer as far as education and travel. And so we said, this is the best choice. What do you think? I was really crying inside, I have to tell you. This was very upsetting because we had known Stephanie through thick and thin because she was a little handful for a while.
I was kind of an asshole. I was a teenager, and so, I mean, I always loved you guys, but I was a teenager, and like, I didn't really...
Typical teen.
Yeah, I was a typical teenager. I was, you know, selfish and entitled, and I mean, I don't think I was always bad, but
No. There are only, you know, a handful of incidents.
Yeah.
And they weren't like awful. They were very typical teen behaviors that she presented. So I loved having Stephanie, and this was very difficult because she was not only going to be adopted, she was going to be adopted by a foreign country. She was going to Canada. I questioned the validity of all that because we knew that once you cross the border, it's a lot more difficult to stay in touch sometimes and to know their policies. So I kept questioning the caseworkers. Are you sure? And questioning Stephanie. I did not want to disrupt the adoption, but I did want to make sure she was safe. And so my husband and I met with this couple. They came 2 or 3 times to our house, and we felt very, very warm feelings from them, and felt this was a good placement. They took her, and on the day, it's still very emotional. On the day that they came and took her and all of her belongings in boxes, I was crying.
Yeah, I remember leaving the driveway with my caseworkers, and like, you were crying, like, you broke down crying in the driveway. Like, I'll never forget that, and it was so sad. Like, I feel like I knew at that moment, like, I was making a huge mistake.
It was very difficult. My kids, were the girls in school, the older kids? I think they were.
I don't remember. I just know you were like home alone.
I was home alone, so everybody was in school. But as soon as Stephanie left, you just don't know what you're going to do. when a child leaves. First of all, you have a broken heart. And secondly of all, this is what you have no idea what you're going to do. I broke down and cried, which is very typical. And then I ran to her room, and this surprised me. And I tore down all of the decorations, took down the bed, pulled the curtains off the windows, completely cleared everything out. And I kept extremely busy. In fact, I painted the room that day. For me, it just helped me to cope with this because I really didn't know if I would see Stephanie again.
Yeah, I feel like a big asshole.
No, it wasn't your fault.
For that. No, I really do, like, looking back, but like I was telling you the other night when we were talking about it, I feel like it failed for a reason, so I could talk about it and be like, okay, adopting teenagers is complicated. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know, to me it doesn't seem like there's enough protocol for like going about it, and I feel like in my situation it was very forced and like very rushed because I was, you know, about to be 18, and so I just felt like it was a great opportunity, and like we kept looking at that only, and we weren't looking at what could possibly go wrong in this situation.
We were looking at, and so is Children's Services. It sounded wonderful. And then that every year she would go to Europe on a vacation, and they would take her to other places as well. She was going to be taken care of physically with material needs. And they were very kind people, so we were not questioning that.
Yeah, I don't think those people have bad intentions.
Never, no.
I just think, like, that's the whole problem, is the way that it was handled by, like, caseworkers, and I think that's why I tried to raise awareness about it. Like, I think it's important if you're going to adopt a teenager. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that family who's adopting that teenager, like, you guys need to sit alone with that child and really lay out, like, it can't be all good. Like, you need to lay out, like, this is what we want, this is what we expect from you. And I feel like that wasn't really presented to me, because I felt like when I got there and I was living with them officially, things were kind of different. Like, there was expectations placed on me that I wasn't really prepared for. And so that was something that I wish would have been laid out for me early on, so I kind of would have been aware, like, you know, maybe this may not be, like, the best fit for me, because that way, you know, there wouldn't have been so much heartache involved if it failed, basically. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there should be more time given to people, especially if they're adopting a teenager. Like, you really have to get to know if you guys are going to be compatible, basically.
Children's Services pushed it. This was the first international adoption for the agency, and this agency's been around for many, many years. It is a public agency.
And so, I mean, you count me as, like, your daughter.
Oh, even my email says 09 because I have 9 kids. That includes Stephanie. I tell all my friends, we have never made Stephanie call us mom and dad. She calls us by our first names, perfectly fine. You know, your child is your child in your heart, not by name. So that's perfectly fine. Very acceptable. Now, I do want to tell you that as a foster parent, you worry about that child just as much as your own biological or adopted children. Over the years, we did adopt 4 kids in addition to our biological kids. And then we always, of course, have Stephanie, just not, you know, legally adopted.
Yeah.
Right, because you don't want to force something on someone. That's not what love does.
Do we have, like, a funny story we could share from my story? And then we'll make the part 2.
I can come up... Okay, I can think of things, but I'll come up with one. We did not rehearse this.
No.
So maybe it's not funny to anybody else. But Stephanie was going to be an angel in an 8th grade private school that we had her and 4 of the other kids in. And Stephanie has always been very headstrong, meaning she had a vision and nothing would interfere with the vision. Perfectly fine. Okay, so she said, I'm going to be an angel. Can you throw together an angel costume? Well, That's kind of my forte. I love changes. I like creativity.
You're very creative.
So I sewed and stayed up late after all the kids were in bed and made an angel costume. I was very proud of it. I brought it in the night that the school play, the Christmas play was presented. I loved this. Everybody said, oh, it's so pretty, it's so pretty. So I know it wasn't just me that liked it. And Stephanie said, yeah, I like it. But what happened is it was right before the drama, and she put something on, and I went,
I put a sheet on.
She put a sheet on, and I went, what the heck is she wearing? It was so embarrassing.
It looked like a toga.
It was so bad. That made her happy.
No, I remember Allison, your daughter, coming in the room, and she's like, what are you wearing? That looks so dumb. And I was like, I don't know. And so I put your costume on.
Yeah, she did finally put it on.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to interfere with people's free will. And I have to admit, it was going to be an embarrassment for you. I have to admit that.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, if you would have seen it.
It was a wrinkly, like...
Oh, it was all wrinkled.
Yeah.
It looked like an old, rag. Stephanie came to us, her brothers came 2 weeks later. She had 2 young brothers. Stephanie, from a young age, had cared for her brothers, so she was like more than an older sister. She was kind of like the mother in a way. So when once the boys came to us for a short period of time, and Stephanie was with us in the beginning, we promised her, you will not be the mother anymore. I want you to be a child. I want you to experience fun things that a girl your age should experience. So she left, and her brothers left. A while later, like I said, she came back as a permanent foster child. And we had her, and I said, okay, what is it you want to do? And we found out that Stephanie is very attracted to the arts. So we enrolled her in dance. She took private voice lessons.
I always did theater.
Yeah, she did theater at school, and this was what she excelled in, and we wanted to go ahead and help her with this.
All right, well, do you want to move on to the next video? We'll wrap this one up. It's all about me. All right, so we're going to move on to the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed watching me and Mama Beans.
Yeah.
I call her
nickname.
Beaner.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next video. Thank you guys for watching. My video recording cut off, but stay tuned for the next video.
You want to change an outfit?
Do you?
Yeah.
You really do?
Yeah, I'm going to change an outfit.
Okay, and I kind of hate this, like, because you're sitting, like, more forward and I'm sitting more backward.
Okay.
And I wish we were more, like...
Well, I can sit backward. Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm just going to change.
She's so silly. Okay, bye.